Ed Roberts is the Chief Operations Officer at Bozard Ford Lincoln in St. Augustine, Florida. We have had a chance to get to know Ed and his organization over the last number of years at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, and he has been very instrumental not only in his organization's growth, but in that of all of fixed operations awareness, especially here at this conference. And I want to welcome Ed Roberts, our keynote speaker today, to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Good morning, Ted. It's good to be here, and thanks for having me.
Ed, my pleasure, and our audience is always drawn to what Ed Roberts has to say. We saw you at the NADA show. Congratulations on that, on becoming an NADA speaker. And you have certainly been making your mark all over retail. And I've heard it said that when Ed Roberts speaks, people listen, to coin an old commercial phrase.
Well, the idea is to give back and to inspire others to bring out the best in the people that they have working for them. So I love the opportunity to be able to give back and share what we do and share our successes and learn how to continue to get better, because we are truly on a journey. There is no destination, so we've never arrived. It's a constant path that we got to keep traveling down.
And I think we're at a critical juncture right now in the retail automobile business, Ed. We've come out of this last 2 years with a lot of change, and a lot of things got implemented that we didn't realize, how they would work until we actually had a chance to do them. And the last year in 2021 was a pretty incredible one. All the way around for dealers, with a lot of pleasant surprises in there, and maybe this year we're having to work a little bit harder on things because the market continues to evolve and change. So I'm interested in your perspective on where we've come and where we're headed.
Well, let's talk about that for a few minutes. Because 2021 made us all look like heroes, and here we are almost halfway through 2022. And we look like heroes again. But I want to tie that back to, and I'm not thankful that we had a pandemic, because there's ultimately a lot of things that went along with that. But I am thankful for the change that it brought to our industry. This is an industry that's always been very resistant to change and very resistant to adapting to new things that come out. And when the pandemic first hit, it forced everyone's hand to make some changes that we should have made years ago, and finding ways to meet customers at their level, because the customers had a fear to come out. So finding ways to meet them at their level with mobile service, with pickup delivery, with remote sales deliveries, virtual test drives, just escalating the use of videos that we've had forever, just never really used them. E-signatures, we've been buying houses with e-signature for years, but didn't bring it over to automotive. And now we've kind of tied those things together. And so when a lot of that happened in 2020, but ultimately it set us up for the year that we had in 2021, because we started meeting customers at their level, where it was kind of cool to do business with a car dealer again. Not to say that we've overcome all those obstacles, but it certainly created an opportunity for us to find ways to meet them at their level. And look at what it did for us in 2021, Ted.
And Ed, you as a leader had a lot of challenges. I remember watching vividly on social media those meetings you had with your staff in the mornings outside of the dealership. They were outside, and I remember how you were motivating the team in light of everything that was happening around them, and that caught the attention of a lot of people, Ed. That you not only inspired the consumers, but you inspired first your team, and your faith in that team, and that really speaks to your leadership, Ed.
Well, when something happens to us, Ted, we get locked in on it. When we have someone that's sick in the family or other things that happen to us, we get locked in on that, and we don't look at the other side. And there is another side to it. Things happen, things change, and the idea is to keep looking to the other side of it. Things will change. Things will get back to what is a new normal, not the old normal. And we have to make sure that we keep painting that picture that, hey, there is another side to this. Let's work through it. Let's make the best of it. Let's not get locked into where we're at. It's not doom and gloom. Let's push through and make sure that we understand that there is another side to this and work towards that and put ourselves in a position to be who we want to be on the other side of it. So that was the purpose of those meetings, to just keep everybody looking forward rather than holding their head down and wondering, oh my God, what's going to hit us next.
And in terms of fixed operations, Ed, and I know you're overseeing, Ed, how many total employees now at the Bozard organization do you oversee?
308. We have grown a little bit over the years. It's been 10 years. This is my 10th year here at Bozard, and we was in the 40s 10 years ago, and we're almost tenfold now. 10 years later, it's been a fun ride.
40 some employees 10 years ago, and now what's the number again?
308,
Wow,
and we're not
that's
stopping there.
I can tell. And you've done a lot of innovative things in the last 2 years, Ed. With the new, not only with the new facility, but new thinking as well. In terms of how to retain your customer base, make your dealership a destination. You've really thought out of the box. Talk to me about fixed operations. I know you very much still have your hand in that. What do you see where we are right now and where we're headed?
So where we're at now is it's an opportunity for us to continue to grow. The industry has kind of been held back with VIN share, and we look at how do I retain my share of the customers, and we go out and we try to conquest new customers, but the best conquest is retention. Let's retain what we have, and then when we retain what we have, we don't give them a reason to go shop another brand. And we have a pandemic of our own in our own industry that's coming in front of us, and we got to make sure that we're prepared for it. And that's the conversion to EV. And whether we want to accept it or not, it's coming. I mean, for us, we got a Lightning out there. We have a Mustang Mach-E. We got some Lincoln products that are coming. But it's not just for us on the Ford brand. It's the industry chatter. And historically, this industry has reacted to things, and we've reacted to other people coming out in front of us and preparing themselves better for what's in front of us. And then we got to react to prevent our customers from defecting to them. Well, let's make sure that we prepare ourselves now today for the pandemic that's coming our way in our industry. And that's the shift from ICE to BEVs. And there's a lot of resistance because ICE is still going to, ICE will be there. The ICE is going to be there for as long as we're alive, Ted. But the opportunity to prepare ourselves for the future and to embrace BEVs as they come in, because we will see a double-digit percentage of EVs in the market in this decade, and we got to prepare for that. So let's say that we keep the same VIN share that we have now. The national average is 30%. We run in the mid 70s, so we're fortunate there. But let's say that we retain that same level at ICE, and BEVs come into, let's just call it 10%, a double-digit percentage in this decade of market share, and we retain all of those. Now we've moved our VIN share from 30 to 40%. And that's what we're going to have to do going forward, because the vehicles are not going to need as much service. They are going to need service. They're still going to need tires. They're going to need wiper blades. They won't need brakes as much because of regenerative. They're still got systems in the vehicle that are still going to need work. They're going to have sunroofs. They're going to have AC systems. They got electrical systems. We're going to have some battery issues here and there. We're going to have some electric motor issues here and there. We're going to have window motor issues. So there's still going to be opportunity for us, but there's not going to be that twice a year visit to the dealer for an oil change and various things there. And we're going to have more tire issues simply because there's not going to be that scheduled time frame where you come to the dealer and get the tires rotated when you change the oil. So we're going to see vehicles with 20,000 miles on it. Tires never been rotated. And so there's still going to be service opportunities, but they're going to lessen. And let's say those vehicles visit us once a year. Well, we're going to have to move that VIN share to 60% if we're going to see the same number of vehicles with the frequency being down. So it's an opportunity for us to make that shift and to make sure that we have the right infrastructure for us. So let's look at it from both sides of it. Tow trucks, really, another form of a tow truck coming forward is going to be a mobile charge unit. We're going to have to go to these vehicles that somebody took the chance to try to get somewhere and didn't quite make it to where they needed to be, and they're not at a charger. They're not there, and we got to go to them and rescue them. And we can go tow it somewhere, or we can go give them a 40 or 50 mile charge and get them back on the road to where they're going. And that's an opportunity for us to get in front of that rather than the tow companies and AAA and those companies getting out in front of us. But also there's opportunities for us as we sell these vehicles to customers that's never had an electric vehicle to sell infrastructure in our F&I department. And what I say by that is we need to put together charger programs to where if someone hasn't had it, that we'll set everything up for them to sell them a package in F&I as a product to where someone goes out to their home, installs a charger, goes over everything with them, and now they have the infrastructure to be able to continue on with that electric vehicle, because there's still going to be some of that fear. Where do I get a charge at? Where do I do this? And Tesla's done a good job of putting these things out there in places where you can go grocery shop or do whatever while you're getting a charge. But we need to be able to do it at the convenience of our customers' home. And when they can do that, and some of our vehicles can transfer that power back and power their home if there's an outage. So that infrastructure needs to be there, and that's an F&I product for us, because our F&I products will change as these vehicles change, and we got to make sure that we're prepared to do that. But we got mobile units, we got F&I packages, but let's create opportunities for these customers to come back to the store as well, and so that we can rotate those tires at a 10,000 mile interval rather than a 20,000 mile interval, and we can. Right. So we can do that with various different things, with detail programs or various different things, or a annual health checkup. Those are things that we got to prepare ourselves for going into the future, because if we don't, somebody else will, and we'll be still back here trying to figure out, how do I get my customer back? How do I get my customer back? And that doesn't do any of us any good.
You talked recently, and by the way, extremely fascinating what you're saying right now about not only that infrastructure at the dealership level, but at the consumer's home, okay, as well as out in the field. You talked recently, Ed, about building service packages for what you're addressing right now, for those visits at the dealership that are going to bundle perhaps different things together, where in the past, and even today, of course, they're considered a la carte if the customer even chooses to have them done. But you've talked about bundling that and packaging that. Talk to us a little bit about that, and maybe how you foresee right now, today, May of 22, how that might look.
Well, it looks like, in the past, we used 30,000, 60,000, kind of 30,000 mile interval for the big checkup of your vehicle.
Yeah.
And going forward, I think that's going to be more of an annual, so an annual type deal. So rather than talk mileage, we talk about time frame. And then talking time frame, now we can kind of predict what that traffic level is going to be, because we don't know what miles people put on vehicles. So that with that mileage interval, we couldn't really predict what our traffic flow would be. We'd go by historical data, but going forward, if we do it from a time frame, then we really control that, and it allows us an opportunity to target that customer rather than guesstimate their miles, send them all kinds of stuff to get them to come in. Now we know it's been 12 months since you purchased your vehicle. Let's bring it in for the annual inspection and make sure everything's going well for you. And while we're doing that, we're going to rotate your tires. We're going to put new wiper blades on. We're going to do the things that needs to happen for that vehicle to maintain it at what it's designed to run at.
With all the talk in the marketplace and on the business pages about EVs, and every day, Ed, you read about these tens of billions of dollars in investment that are being made by big companies. There's been a lot of talk on the OEM side about separating the EVs at the dealer level from the combustion engines. And I won't be shy on it. Ford Motor Company has been one of those companies talking about, maybe this is not going to be something we utilize with all of our dealer network the way we have in the past. What are your thoughts on that, Ed Roberts? And, should dealers be overly concerned about that right now?
So I may not be popular on my answer on this, but I love that Ford is separating out the two, because I've always been the kind of guy that I want to learn what my people's strengths are and build their role around their strengths. And none of us can be good at everything. And we'd like to be, but we can't. We all have strengths, and we have opportunities that we can work on. And I love that Ford has separated that out, because I don't want that guy that wants to make ICE the best thing out there as a second job building a battery vehicle. I want someone that wants to own ICE, building ICE vehicles, and someone that sees the future and sees that BEVs is what's coming, and build the best vehicle he can build. So I love that separating them out. So I got this crew doing this one and this crew doing this one. And I think it will it will create a competitive atmosphere to which one becomes better, and each one will step each other's game up, because competition always drives improvement. And so it's internal competition within the company, and I look forward to the product that's going to come out, and it gives us an opportunity to market differently, because the customers are still, we're going to have some customers that are still very in tune with ICE, and want to stick with ICE because it's what they're comfortable with and they don't want to have to worry about the range stuff. But we're also going to have the tech customers that are chasing what's the latest technology out there. And we can look at that from two different platforms and show what we're doing to make them the best out there, the best in the market.
I am hearing from some of the California dealers, including Ed, our good friend Tully Williams, that they are attracting a new breed of technician and people who want to be technicians, because now this is considered, Ed, the cool thing, the EVs. And a lot of us got taken by surprise when we started hearing that, but I'm hearing more and more of that happening now. So what are your thoughts on that?
The opportunity is huge for us. It has been tough to get people to come into this because for so long we've kind of had that push that you got to go to a 4-year college. You got to go to a 4-year college. Yeah. Well, there is people that built that college. There's people that built it. And so you got to have the industry people out there that have a skilled trade. And for us in automotive, we've kind of been looked at as a skilled trade of being a grease monkey. And that's not cool. It's not cool to be a grease monkey. So it kind of get looked down upon. Well, shifting to BEVs, it makes us cool again. And look at what the .com age did in the late 90s, and then all the other stuff that come through in early 2000s. Computers. So now we got IT companies and we got cybersecurity and all those things that didn't exist not long ago. Well, those are the things that we got to look at for automotive as well now. And so, yes, it puts us into a techie type situation for techs rather than a mechanical situation for technicians. And it's going to be a different breed, and it makes it cool to be an automotive technician again. Looking forward to it.
Ed, to wrap up here today for our audience, you are 10 years at Bozard Ford Lincoln and coming up now on a year as the COO of that company. Any advice, and what advice do you have for our managers and our dealers and our viewers looking forward into 2022? What should we be aware of? What else should we be preparing for? Your thoughts on that.
Well, it is odd or not common for someone to make it from the fixed op side of the business to where I'm at today here, but it can be done, and I'm living proof of it. And there is others as well, and the opportunity is in front of us to always develop ourselves, but never lose sight of we don't get the job done. As you see in my office, I don't have customers in here. I don't have salespeople in here. We have people to get things done. So we get things done through people. And so we have to develop ourselves, and we got to continue to help our people develop. And as we do those things, and then we get the credit for it, but ultimately things get easier because things happen naturally. And a lot of times we're looked at as having all the answers. We don't have the answers. We're not frontline. The frontline people have the answers. They have the most information. We got to make sure that we're empowering them and asking them the questions, or what do you think you should do, or what caused this, or because a lot of times we'll throw out a decision that, hey, we need to change this to this, and not know what the effect of it is because we're not as in tune. So don't lose sight of who put you where you're at. It's our people that gets us there, and we have to develop them and include them in decisions that's made, and they will take ownership in something that they're involved with. And then it is endless on where you could go.
Ed Roberts, nobody better to start us off at the Fixed Ops Roundtable than you. And as you said, not many people have made that move as you have, from fixed operations now to running that organization. So congratulations to you again, and on all your success and all your future success, Ed, as well.
Thank you, Ted. I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to the summer in front of us. Graduation is here for my daughter, and I think your daughter's graduating here as well in a couple of days. And it's all good stuff in front of us.
Yeah, we're proud dads. So I love that. So Ed Roberts, the COO of Bozard Ford Lincoln, here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted.